Alright, so hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today I want to talk a little bit about Ember and a build that I sort of just accidentally stumbled upon when I was faffing around. So here I was, working on a build, putting on different combinations of mods, then going into missions and trying them out to see how they feel and how well they work, and out of nowhere I swap around some mods, I go into a mission to test it out, I come into this big open room with a ton of enemies, I press Inferno and everything dies. And I immediately thought, you know what would be kind of funny? Taking a Warframe that was changed because she was too good at nuking the star chart and she was given all these fancy new tools, and build her just to nuke the star chart. And about an hour, maybe two of refining later, I had the build you're watching right now. Now, it's only about as strong as the old Ember when it comes to nuking, so really only the star chart, and it still struggles with heavy gunners and bombards sometimes, but it is insanely efficient and just really dumb. Now at this point, I'm not actually sure how much forma you're gonna need for this, because this is like my 5th build on Ember Prime, so I had to reforma a lot. But anyway, for the aura, we're gonna use corrosive projection, which is gonna help us one-shot things. Armor is our biggest enemy here, even though we can strip it away with heat, but we don't want to do that with this build. We just want to boink the enemy over the head with a massive meteor and hope that they die. Then we're gonna add a ton of power strength, so transient fortitude, intensify, and energy conversion, which only really works on certain builds. And this is one of them, because we are running exothermic, which makes it so that if an enemy is affected by Inferno when they die, they have a 15% chance to drop an energy orb, and if you one-shot them, they are technically affected by Inferno. This creates a really nice loop where we one-shot something, we get an energy orb, and that's gonna power up our energy conversion, which is then going to one-shot things, so we get an orb, and it just goes bonk 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 and just kind of feeds itself. So it's a really good way of getting a ton of power strength with not much of a downside here. After that, we're gonna add Cunning, Drift, and Stretch for some extra power range, even though Inferno has pretty decent base range to begin with, but for some of the bigger tile sets, it's definitely better to have more. And I felt like this was enough for everything outside of the open world maps. Then we're gonna make Inferno super cheap by adding Fleeting Expertise, which makes it cost almost nothing per enemy, so that's great. We followed that up with a little bit of defense. I personally went with Vitality, though you can kind of use whatever you want, though I would not use Quick Thinking because that might screw up your energy reserves. And we top it all off with Natural Talent, which reduces the cast time of Inferno by 50%. And Natural Talent, by the way, is really a massive boon here, because it's not a big deal if you cast Inferno every now and then, but when you spam it back to back throughout the entire mission, you will really start to notice the cast time, especially if you're glide casting it so that you can move while you're casting Inferno. Now, I'm not going to pretend that this is as good or even better than the old Ember, because it's not. The old Ember setup was just ridiculous. You would press one button and then just bullet jump to the end. This one requires a little bit more finesse, but I'm also pretty sure it does more damage than the original World on Fire setups. Now, I am aware that this is probably not what the developers intended her to be when they reworked her, so she's not as good at nuking, and she did get a bunch of new fancy stuff like that damage reduction and the new meter, and this build doesn't use any of it, but I mean, come on, it's really good at what it does. It's just really dumb. I love it, and I would recommend you give this a shot before you go for like a more serious build. Who knows, maybe you'll really like it. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.